I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For those 10 seconds or less, I'm free. Hey, what is going on, guys? It's CK here, and today I'm giving you my review on Fast and Furious 7. Now, I just want to say straight away, if you've not seen the movie yet, spoiler alert. Repeat, spoiler alert. There is going to be some spoilers in this. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, then please do bitch slap that freaking like button. Much appreciated. But without further ado, let's get down to this thing. So first up is the opening sequence itself, guys, with Jason Statham. This is where we get introduced to his character. He is the main villain in the movie, and my god, all I've got to say is badass much. He is an absolute badass. Now, this section at the start of it is so good for like introducing him, because it basically tells you a bit of the background story from Fast and Furious 6, how Owen Shaw, his brother, actually survived the plane fall from Fast and Furious 6. I'm like, what? How can he survive that? Seriously, he's like several hundred feet up in the air, but apparently he's crippled now, but he's still survived it. Now, after hearing that he wants revenge on the crew that took his brother down, or crippled him in this case, oh, we get another badass scene. Yes, we do. This is pure Jason Statham right now. It's funny. The way he kills the guards are absolutely amazing. The way he just like passes the guard the grenade and goes like that, hold this, and the guard's like, holy fuck. I was decking it with laughter. Seriously, I was laughing like hell. But the best shot, you guys definitely know what I'm going to say right now. When he exits the hospital, the whole thing basically, not the whole building crumbles, like the front entrance crumbles. And what do we see him get into? A white Jaguar F-Type. I was like, back in the cinema, me and Andy's reaction was like, oh my god. Literally, because you guys know my favourite car is the F-Type. I did not expect that to be in the movie one bit, so we were just sitting there like this. Oh! It's awesome. I wish it was in it a bit more, but god damn, I am so happy about the opening sequence. Fucking 10 out of 10 for that sequence, man. Now I want to talk a little bit about the characters and like the character development over the past few films. Now obviously, as you all know, Brian / Paul Walker, he is trying to become like a family man and stuff right now, because he's got his little son Jack, and Mia, obviously, who's the mother of Jack, and that. It was pretty damn funny, the scene where he pulls up to the school. We thought he was going to start a race or something, and it's like a massive zoom in his face, and it's like, burp, he's in a Chrysler minivan. That was a good touch. That was a really, really good touch. We also get Letty try to recover her memory again. She does eventually do it at the end of the movie, so it's great to see her back. And Michelle Rodriguez, she's just a freaking badass bitch. That's what she is. She's a badass bitch overall. But the way they actually do it is pretty damn good as well. So yeah, I'm glad she's actually got her memory back in this one. So about 20 minutes into the film, maybe about half an hour or something, we get introduced to Ramsey. She is this hacker chick, and she's invented this creation called God's Eye. Now, me and Andy kind of looked at each other in the cinema and thought, did they just take this from Watch Dogs? Because it kind of looks like that. You've got to admit, it does look like the CTOS system from Watch Dogs, but you can see everything, basically. That is what it reminds me of, but it's a really, really cool touch, because not only have they taken things from Watch Dogs, but I'll get to another scene in a minute from another game which I think they've taken inspiration from. So one of the new characters which I actually quite liked quite a lot was Kurt Russell's character, Mr. Nobody. Now, I thought he was going to be like, I don't really know, you know, the guy from Fast and Furious 4, like the main sergeant in that. I thought he was going to be that sort of like, yes, get the job done in that. But he's quite funny. He's actually pretty damn funny, and I've heard like, because Vin Diesel has said Fast and Furious 8 is going to be in New York, and he says that Mr. Nobody's going to be coming back, so I'm pretty damn happy about that, because he plays the part very, very well. You can tell he's having fun in it, and yeah, Kurt Russell is a legend. I like him. I've watched some of his older movies as well. He's a really, really good actor, and some of the bits in this, oh man, it is really, really good. Really, really, really good for Kurt Russell. Now, the bit that got me very hyped, guys, was when Lucas Black, aka Sean from Tokyo Drift, showed up. Now, Seriously, I was a wee bit disappointed as well because his character wasn't in it as long as I thought it would be. They only just spent like 5 minutes, not even that, in Tokyo. Basically, Tokyo Drift was made to introduce Han, that was it. But as you all know, in the 6th movie, at the end of the 6th movie, we see the bit where Jason Statham basically blows up the car. This follows it up a little bit more. So yeah, Sean actually gives him Letty's little cross and that, but I'll get to that in a wee second. But you can tell when they showed the footage from Tokyo Drift and then the footage from Fast 7 that he's aged quite a lot. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with Sean. I really hope in the 8th film that they decide to bring him into the crew, because he's a great character, he's a funny character. And yeah, Tokyo Drift, I know this might, I don't know if it will spark a lot of hate or not, but Tokyo Drift personally is my favourite Fast and Furious film, because you know me, I like drifting. But yeah, it was a nice change of pace, but obviously Fast 7 has got to be the best one in terms of emotions. And then something happened at the start of the movie which I nearly hit the freaking roof, guys. You know I am a fan of Iggy Azalea, right? She freaking makes a cameo appearance for like 10 seconds. I was like, oh my god! Because she just comes in and she doesn't speak Australian or anything like that. She just speaks like the gangster terms. She goes like, oh, so you're the chick I heard about. Well, I'm like, why don't you just speak normally, Iggy? Why don't you speak normally? That'd be great. But yeah, it was great to see her, man. It was great to see her. It was kind of like the Rita Ora appearance in Fast and Furious 6. But, oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that she made an appearance. She's awesome. I love her game. So now moving on to the car sequences. Now at the beginning of the movie, we actually get to see Dom and Letty travel to Race Wars. Now, this was a great feature to bring back from Fast and Furious 1. And I'm very, very glad they did it, because it's nostalgia for any fan of the series. It is big, big nostalgia, because we all remember that scene between Jesse and the main villain of Fast and Furious 1. So yeah, it was great, like, idea to bring that back. So in this scene we get to see Letty drag race a raced out Audi R8 in her Plymouth Hemi Cuda. So big thumbs up, because I am a massive fan of the Plymouth Hemi Cuda, my favourite muscle car of all time. And me being an eagle-eyed viewer, I noticed that the drag race actually took place at Willow Springs Racetrack. So that was a good idea to bring that in as well. So yeah, it was out in the middle of the desert and everything, so Willow Springs is obviously out in the middle of the desert as well, so great location choice. So the next big car chase sequence is when Dom chases down Jason Statham in his Plymouth Roadrunner. Now, the way that it climaxes is so good. It is really proper cinematic style, because it actually reminds me of the intro movie of Most Wanted 05. Seriously, that's what it does, because the cops basically like block you into this warehouse in the intro, and the guy in the BMW like spins around and does like a burnout. This is what it reminds me of, but it's more like Face Off, if you know what I mean. So it's a really cool scene, and all I've got to say is that Andy's heart basically broke, because that's basically his favourite muscle car of all time, is the Plymouth Roadrunner. So I basically heard him going when the actual scene like completed. Oh, man, I was pissing myself at him, seriously, just laughing. I was laughing too much at him to actually care about the cars. So now we get to the first big car sequence, which is the convoy takedown mission. Now I thought this was only going to be a two-part thing where they just jump out the plane, land on the ground and just take down the convoy. But oh no, was I wrong? Seriously, I mean, they do the first bit, they jump out the plane and stuff. Obviously Roman takes his time because he's a pussy. And then they get down on the ground, but they're doing okay for a little bit. Brian's in the Subaru, Dom's in the Charger, Tej is in the Jeep, Letty's in the Challenger, and I think Roman's in the Camaro. That's what I'm trying to find. But yeah, basically Jason Statham shows up halfway through it. I never expected that. Never expected that. They didn't show that in the trailers, they didn't show that in like the main featurettes or anything like that on their channels. So I'm glad of that. I'm glad they're actually keeping some surprises in there, because it basically took a whole different turn, because Dom went off with Jason Statham and then the rest of them tried to take down the actual convoy. I really liked the bit at the end when it was kind of like a Mexican standoff between like the new gang and Dom and Ramsey, because they were basically circling them. Back the way there was a cliff, front the way there was like 10 armoured cars with guns, so yeah, just the way they pulled the exit scene off from this is just fucking cool, seriously. Like the donuts to create smoke, oh man, and then they just like chuck it off the actual cliff, which I thought was a bit dumb. It'd be quite cool if they had like a backup parachute, but I know they had to like use the parachute to get out of the plane, but I was like, what the fuck did he just do? He just chucked himself off a cliff, but all I can say is, luckily they've got that roll bar. Luckily they've got that roll bar, or he would be dead. Now this has to be one of my favourite scenes in the movies, and I think it's going to be a lot of you guys' ones as well. The Lycan Hypersports. I mean, how evil does that thing look? I mean, it is bought by a big billionaire and everything in Dubai. He keeps it in a locked up room. Basically like over 700 horsepower hypercar here, and they're freaking, oh my god, they caged the beast. That's what Dom says, time to unleash the beast. I mean, I was like, whoa. I mean, that is like the most badass line, time to unleash the beast. I mean, god damn, this sequence was good. I mean, granted, there was quite a lot of CGI when they were jumping over the buildings, but you can forgive them for that, because they're not exactly going to chuck a real fucking Lycan Hypersport out of the building. But yeah, that would cost them a whole lot of dough, man, a whole lot of dough. But yeah, it was a really, really cool sequence, and especially when Dom was lifting up the freaking thing. So yeah, and they actually said it was bulletproof. Now, I know for a fact the real life one isn't bulletproof, but considering the fact it's bought by an Abu Dhabi billionaire or something, I think it's a billionaire or millionaire, he can get it bulletproofed if he wanted. Okay, just talking about this movie makes me freaking sweat, seriously. And we're going to get to a topic right now which will make you sweat even more. The fight scenes. Talk about actually making you feel as if you're in the movie. The camera work is well done. When people get flipped the fuck around in the movie, the camera follows them as well. When they do like a tumble and stuff, the camera does it as well. It's crazy. It's really, really good. It actually gets you feeling like you're in the movie, as I said, and you just want to claw the fuck out the enemies and just like bring them the most pain as you can. So the first fight sequence that we get in the movie is between the two titans, The Rock and Jason Statham. Now what sparks this fight is when The Rock finds Jason Statham actually hacking into his computer. Now obviously, as you would expect, The Rock doesn't like that, but Jason Statham, being an absolute badass as he is, he basically kicks the fuck out of The Rock for the first 2 minutes. But The Rock gets his signature move in, I think it's the Rock Slam or something like that. Oh my god, so brutal, man, so brutal, right through a glass table. And I've got to say, Jason Statham, god, you could put up with some poundings, holy crap. Then in the Abu Dhabi sequence, we see Michelle Rodriguez go up against Ronda Rousey, the UFC champion. Now if you like catfights in your movie, you're going to like this one. You are going to like this one because it's probably one of the most brutal I've seen, seriously, because they've all got high heels on, Letty's in a dress now, and that is the one thing that Michelle Rodriguez actually said that she wanted to do different in this movie. She didn't want to just be in a tank top and everything like that, because they originally planned to have her sniping in like a tank top or like a leather jacket and stuff. She wanted to do something different, and I thought it went very, very well. It was really unique to see like these two women actually fighting in the dresses and stuff, so yeah, it was really, really cool. I liked the way, like, Ronda Rousey just basically picked up Michelle Rodriguez and just went, waft! Just flung over the couch. It was amazing. So, yeah, the way the camera follows it as well, as I mentioned earlier, top job in that fight sequence. Now, there is a couple more in the movie, but I'm not going to go over them all, but the one that I found very interesting was the final fight sequence between Jason Statham and Vin Diesel. Now we all know the backstory between Vin Diesel's character Dom. He actually hit a guy with a wrench several times until he couldn't actually feel his arm no more. So yeah, it's so good how they brought that back. They're not using guns in this fight, they're using wrenches. Oh yes, talk about manly. But probably the most funniest and badass looking thing in the movie is when The Rock comes out of hospital, grabs an ambulance, and takes down the drone in the final scene when he jumps off a bridge and lands on it. Fuck me, it was cool. And then when Letty says, "Where's the cavalry?" and then he says, "Woman, I am the cavalry." I mean, how more epic can you get? Seriously, he's a legend, man. They're all legends in this movie. All I've got to say to you guys about the soundtrack is, go and download it right now. It's on iTunes. You can get the album. I think it's like £7 or something like that. Because this is probably one of the best movie soundtracks I have ever heard. Because you get artists like Iggy Azalea, Wiz Khalifa, David Guetta on it as well. Because the song that he does at the start of it, called Blast Off, that's between that's playing when Letty actually drag races the R8. It's like, not really dubstep, like drum and bass mixed with dance. So good. And then when they go to Dubai, Get Low's playing. I mean, they've picked the perfect music for each scene. Seriously, I've never seen it done that well in a Fast and Furious movie before. They've picked it very, very well, because the Abu Dhabi music sounds like it just came from Abu Dhabi. The LA music sounds like proper, like, high action and stuff like that, which you would expect to come out of LA. It's good. It's really, really good. So before we get to the final scene and final verdict on the movie, guys, I just want to talk to you about my cons with the film. First up is Roman's character now. Tyrese is a great, great, great actor. I like him a lot. He's really funny. But that is the point that I'm trying to get here. I think they focus too much on the comedy side of Roman this time, because in Too Fast, Too Furious, he still had some proper badass lines, but this time he's kind of more of the class clown. He is more like wacky this time, even more than Fast and Furious 6. So I think if he's still in Fast and Furious 8, I think they are going to make that. So yeah, if he's still in that movie, I would like to see him be more like, not badass, but you know what I mean, more like proper dialogue than just like, "Oh my god, we're going up against a drone this time. We took on a tank. We took on a freaking whatever the hell it was in the last films." Rather than just being like that sort of outrageous character, I want to be more serious sometimes, rather than just proper wacky. Another character which I think could be improved is Jason Statham's character. Now, I know he's meant to be this dark, cold-hearted killer that just wants to take out the crew that crippled his brother, but I think they should have brought in more hilarity for him. Like, spread it around from Roman, give it to Jason Statham a little bit, because he's funny in other films. Now, I know his specific role in this one is meant to be quite dark, but still, you can still add some a little bit of humour in it as well. I know he had quite a lot of good, like, one-liners and stuff in this movie, but still, he was still proper, like, dark, like, "I'm gonna kill you," stuff like that. So yeah, he was quite bland at some points, but he's still proper cool. I like him. So con number 3, we only got to see a little bit of The Rock in this movie. Now, granted, we got a whole movie basically worth of him in Fast and Furious 5 and Fast and Furious 6, so it is kind of good and bad that we don't get to see him a lot in this movie. So yeah, it's good because it gets the rest of the characters some time on screen, and it's kind of bad because he doesn't really deliver as much badass scenes. Now, he has one with the Gatling gun. Oh my fucking god, that is so cool. But yeah, apart from that, he's not really in much scenes apart from the fight sequence with Jason Statham. That's it. Con number 4 is the final 30 minutes of the movie. Now, I feel as if the final 30 minutes, excluding the final scene, dragged on a little bit. It's kind of similar to what Fast and Furious 6 done with the massive, massive runway. Although this time, there wasn't a plane they were trying to take down, it was a freaking attack helicopter and a drone now. Although I loved the GTR that was Brian was driving and stuff, I liked all the stunts and everything in it. I feel as if they could have concluded it a lot more quicker. They've kind of dragged it on a little bit, but yeah, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I still like all the action in it, but yeah, they could have like shortened the time down a little bit more. So the final con that I've got with the movie, guys, is that where's the rest of the Tokyo scenes? Seriously, because we don't get to see the big anticipated drift race between Dom and Sean in the parking lot, between the Roadrunner and the Sylvia. We don't get to see that. All we get is like them standing on a balcony and Lucas Black or Sean giving Vin Diesel Letty's cross back. So yeah, don't get me wrong, the two cars are there and everything. It was a nice throwback to Tokyo Drift with the Sylvia. and the Roadrunner, they're both there as well. But yeah, I wish there was more Tokyo scenes. Hopefully that comes in the 8th film, and as I said earlier on, I hope Lucas Black joins the crew. So that is all the cons, guys. Apart from that, it is a great movie. I'm going to get to the final verdict in a minute, but now we're going to move on to probably the most hard-hitting scene in the movie, the final sequence. So it starts off with all the main characters sitting on the beach, and then a little bit further down the line, Ludacris actually says to Tyrese's character, can you just shut up and just open your eyes? And then this is the bit where it just gets so emotional. So we get to see Cody, which is Paul Walker's brother, take his place, obviously with the CGI face on him as Paul, with playing with Mia and Jack and stuff on the beach. Then we get to see Vin. Oh my god, this is the bit that made me tear up. I mean, I was crying in the cinema. I'm not afraid to admit that, guys. For the people who said they didn't at least have one tear coming out of their eye at this scene, they are liars or non-petrol heads, because Paul Walker was such a legendary guy. He brought us all up with cars. Now, people in my age group, they brought us all up with cars. He was the main guy that got me into them, along with the Fast and Furious series. So yeah, this was a very hard hitting scene, guys, and I find it actually quite hard to talk about it right now. But yeah, apart from that, Vin Diesel basically goes away into the Charger, and this is where I'm like, hold back the tears, hold back them. But then I'm like, we're only human, so you can let it out. So yeah, basically the actual speech was, I live my life a quarter mile at a time, you do too, that is why we'll always be brothers, and stuff like that. But the way they pull this scene off is just amazing. Like, the way it's directed, the flashbacks, the music over it by Wiz Khalifa and Chris Puth, I think that's his name, Chris Puth. It's so good. It is so good. I mean, they bring in the Supra against the Charger, and I'm so glad they didn't race it. Seriously, I'm so glad they didn't race it. They were just cruising along, which is great. But the final shot has to be the one that made everyone, including me, just like tear up like hell, because you know that scene pulling at the heartstrings. That's when it done. I was like, I could feel it. I feel like I was going to be sick a little bit because of the feels. So yeah, basically Dom's Charger and Paul Walker's Supra separate, and it follows the Supra into the horizon. So man, I mean, I'm so glad I didn't do this after the movie, because I would be in tears, right? But man, you should have seen me on Saturday. You should have seen me on Saturday when I come back from the movie, because like, I know people that are going to be watching this, some of you might not be petrol heads, but yeah, it really hit me and Andy hard. We were just basically talking about it all the way walking home. So I just want to say right now, Paul, whatever the hell you are, I might not have been related to you, but I'll always be a friend, and I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people out there. You got us into cars, mate, and I'm so thankful you did, because cars are love, cars are life. Seriously, that's all I've got to say. So yeah, wherever you are, man, big respect to you, and just RIP to the legend. So my final verdict on Fast and Furious 7 is a solid 10 out of 10. This is coming from a fan of the series right from the start. When I was a kid, been brought up with it, and if you love cars, you're no doubt going to love this movie. If you love action, you're going to love this movie. But as I said, if you followed the series from the start, it is your godforsaken right to see this. If not for yourself, but for Paul. And if you plain Jane just don't want to see this movie, all I've got to say is, you mad, bro? You freaking mad? So before we go, guys, I just want to say to the producers of the movie, thank you so much for making this. It was a great send-off for Paul, and I think everyone's going to agree with that. But in my personal opinion right now, I don't think we should make a Fast and Furious 8, because it started with Paul and it should end with Paul, seriously, because I don't know how the hell you're going to make up a new plot or anything, because Jason Statham's character is locked up now, and Owen Shaw is crippled, so he can't exactly break him out unless he sends like another member of his crew to get him out, which I highly doubt they're going to do, because Fast and Furious 6 was all about Owen Shaw, Fast and Furious 7 was about Jason Statham's brother's Shaw, if you know what I mean. So yeah, the only way that I could figure something out is if the main villain from Too Fast, Too Furious comes back, because he says at the end of the movie, "I'll see you soon," but I think that's a bit too far back for him to come back. So yeah, I really hope they finish it here. It was a great send-off, and yeah, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, guys. Do you think there should be a Fast and Furious 8? Me personally, I don't think there should be. But all I've got to say now is, guys, if you love cars, if you love extreme action and a story about family, Fast and Furious 7 is the only place to be. Ride or die, my friends. Ride or die.